Hello! Hello, hello. I know I'm really only saying hello to the people who are watching the recording of this, but I'm thankful that you watch. I appreciate your viewership. I know I don't get to interact with you as much. I am terrible about exporting my videos over to YouTube. I ought to do that more. In fact, while we're waiting for people to hop on, why don't I do that now? So that the live viewers have a chance to, let's see, video manager. Oh, I should retitle my... Oh, gosh. Should retitle my stream. Stream. Oh, that's right. I can hear myself. Must not get the feedback loop. Oh dear. Wow, I'm up to 34 followers. That's cool. Date. Cool. Alrighty. That's right. I was going to manage some videos. Meanwhile, on the game, I'll turn on our skills so you can take a look at those. Okay, cool. And export this one. Oh, maybe that last one shouldn't have been. I think I might have just posted a video that's 2 minutes long, so maybe I'll go through and delete that one. Well, at least I'm putting stuff up there. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So these are our skills, and they may look a little odd if you have not seen them before, but I promise it's on purpose. This is almost all very carefully planned. The almost 10 levels in stealth was just some free experience that I threw around. I had a manual for a while and had some spare experience to work with. And having higher stealth is, as long as you can make use of it, as long as you're not wearing armor that's too heavy for you to, be sneaky in. It never hurts. I mean, just those times where you walk into a room and there are a ton of really nasty dudes. It's the difference between them noticing you and them not noticing you sometimes, which is cool. So we're really strong. Our only equipment that is not just bonkers is our jewelry suite here. Just normal old Amulet of Regeneration, Ring of Protection from Cold, and Ring of See Invisible. But the rest of our equipment is astounding. We're using a +8 Triple Sword of Holy Wrath. It's one of the strongest weapons in the game. It's on par with the Executioner's Axe. They both have base damage of 19, and I want to say they both have base accuracy of -4. The accuracy isn't really the relevant part. Hey, Dr. X, good to see you. Doing some extended endgame craziness, but just showing focus the equipment setup first. It's this Quicksilver Dragon armor that's really getting us. But I think you might have already seen that. So now that I know at least one person is actually online, I was just kind of going through it for anybody that's watching this recorded. But now that we're live, we can start rolling. So I have played a little bit offline since the last time I streamed. I managed to pick up the Demonic Rune of Zot and the Glowing Rune of Zot, two of the Pandemonium runes. The Demonic Rune of Zot, I think, is just random. It's just guarded by some bland Pandemonium Lord, pretty sure. But the Glowing Rune is one of the ones that's guarded by a unique Pandemonium Lord, Noleg, who did not prove to be too much trouble, because we're super duper strong. Right now, this is kind of an experiment. I am continuing to train shields up to 25 to eliminate all penalty for using a large shield while spellcasting, because eventually we're going to want to be using shields again. This triple sword of Holy Wrath is awesome, very, very good. Oh yeah, octopodes make such a satisfying sound when they squish. I think that's the next run I'm going to do once the tournament ends and I go back to the offline version, because I like being able to have multiple characters at the same time. I want to try out some octopode transmuters and maybe scalds, possibly. I don't know. I want to try out some hybrids. I think they could be good. Some stabbery types, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. For now, let's continue through Pandemonium. Oh, as I was saying, the Triple Sword of Holy Wrath is useful for now. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I've seen. Thank you, Gamma Funk. I don't know that I've seen you on the stream before, but welcome. Good to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, then welcome back. But that's cool. Yeah, the Holy Pan map is real neat. I hope that we run into that on this character. If we have time, I will continue to do Pandemonium levels after we get 15 runes, until we get that one. But I really only have until tomorrow sometime, or maybe the next day. The tournament ends on the 29th. I don't know what time on the 29th. And I want to... I'm not, anywhere... I haven't had the time or the skill to make it anywhere near the top of the standings. But, I want to set a personal best, and next time perhaps I'll have a little bit more of an opportunity to play. I've been doing the job search thing. Oh, well, that is really neat. I'm honored that you stopped by the stream. I really appreciate what you guys do. The development team, I feel, is excellent. I really like every time there's a patch. I've enjoyed the way that the game changes. So thanks for your effort. Welcome to the stream. So Caster's Curse. I'm gonna die now. Nah, we should be fine. There really isn't anything that can kill us short of stupidity at this point. And that's I'm certainly not ruling that out. But as far as equipment, as far as our spell setup, we are already. The reason why we're doing Pandemonium right now is because we can beat it. We can stick it out. That being said, I do need to double check what resources we have at our disposal here. I have been really underestimating throwing in the past. I haven't tried to play with it in 5 patches or so since like 0.10 or 0.11. And it's changed dramatically since then, and I actually really like putting about 7 levels into it now. I've found that is an excellent rate on your return of experience investment. That is to say, you don't have to put a whole ton of experience into throwing for it to be really good now. As long as you have the stats. I think it may be a Che Burritos phenomenon, because I know I didn't go throwing with my last Che character. The massive stats, 41 strength, 33 dexterity, are a pretty key part in the damage that we're getting from our throwing instruments here. So it could be that you'd have to put more points into it were you not an unstoppable juggernaut of death. Um, that being said, I no longer think that it is a poor investment for a fighter type that is not sort of immediately going into invocations or evocations. Um, yeah, I know range got reworked, and I didn't even think about the fact that throwing would be included in that, and it's awesome. I haven't played around as much with the other ranged weapon types. I have done a little bit with hand crossbows on one character, which I really liked. Here we have a Pandemonium Lord. I love the new art for Pandemonium Lords. I think it's just so cool. Shao, one of the many lords of Pandemonium, Shao has a vast, spindly body with hooked wings and the head of an elephant. That's so cool. Okay, resistances, pretty resistant to everything, but should not pose us much threat. We are going to take a step back here. Once the Pandemonium Lord shows up, I do have to exercise more caution, just in general. Throw on some regeneration. We have regeneration once already through our amulet. It's very important for anyone that that wants to be in melee combat, just because your effective hit points dramatically increase when you add a source of regeneration. If you can stack them, you can just become a really good tank. Oh, you know, Doctor, I forgot to ask. I forgot to ask Stanley Dudrich about that app, but I am going to see him tomorrow, and I will be able to talk to him then. In fact, remind me to ask you about this app. Okay. Yes, so regeneration is great. If you can add additional sources of regeneration beyond the first, that's swell. You can build specifically towards that and do well. Zamaninator, welcome, welcome. Very happy as Orc Jesus so far. Even though you haven't converted, okay, yeah. I do like hill orcs. I'm trying to remember exactly what they're up to. Yeah, they just have solid aptitudes across the board. The extra 10% hit points makes the early game a little more forgiving. I mean, it makes the whole game a little more forgiving, but the early game is particularly vulnerable for those beefy hill orc fighters. But yeah, that's another type of character that I really want to play around with more. I had one that a little while ago on the offline version that lasted as far as he lasted pretty far, like all the way through Elf. He had to kill Saint Roca. Sadly, Saint Roca would not kneel to the one true orc, but alas, I was cast into the abyss slightly before I would have been ready to go there on my own. I was just too reliant on my followers, but my followers were pretty cool. Did we kill the Pandemonium Lord while I was just yapping away? Goodness gracious, I am a little bit out of it. No? Okay, yeah, that's right, because we just cast regeneration and then poked our head around the corner. So, the Pandemonium Lord is presumably around here somewhere still. Yeah. I do want to show this off because this is castable now. Boom! Singularity. Space collapses on itself with a satisfying crunch. Oh, this spell is so cool. Very excellent addition. I'm kind of in love with translocations now. They were always so close to being amazing, and it's always seemed to fall short for me, with Disjunction being the top spell in the school. It was just So close. And the addition of Singularity and Gale's Gravitas, I think, perfectly round out the school. I think it's really excellent for characters of all types now. Whereas before it was really only good for hybrids. Okay. Our Pandemonium Lord came back, so we are going to Singularity again. I think... Where do we want them to be pulled towards? Or towards where... to whence do we want them to be pulled? Darn. Really don't know the grammar on that. So Singularity places a friendly summoned being with smite targeting, which is lovely. That's the reason why I put it on the same tier as Firestorm, is the smite targeting. It just lets you... It gives you so much more versatility as far as line of sight goes. I haven't played around too much with Glaciate. I know it shares similar properties, but I'm a fanboy of smite targeting in general. So smite targeted friendly summon, which pulls monsters towards it. They can collide, I believe, with each other, or the Singularity. If they collide with the Singularity, they take additional damage, but it periodically damages everything in here regardless. It's real swell. You just toss it down. See, look, we only have one monster able to attack us, and that's a Pandemonium Lord, which is the one we wanted to kill anyway, because it's the strongest one. It can pull through. Gosh, it's a really neat spell. I like it a lot. It means that I don't have to invest at all, probably ever, in Conjurations, which is really great. Having an alternative to dumping a lot of points in Conjurations is excellent, because Firestorm would be the go-to. A Kobold and a Naga mercenaries. Oh, that's cool. Like making a non-human paladin back in AD&D 2.0. They're house rule converts. Ugh, that kind of dates me a little bit. Yikes. If you've never, if you are a Dungeons and Dragons person, any of you, and you have never played as far back as 2.0, check out the source books. It's pretty weird. I mean, it's excellent, but it's very different from how it is now. You got Thaco, which was algebra. It was great. It was great stuff. So we're training long blades both to get additional damage, which is nice at this point. But also because we won't reach minimum delay until level 24 with our triple sword. It is one of the heftier skill requirement swords. Although, like long blades in general, I have found, it does not require as much skill as axes to reach minimum delay. That's a nice trade-off. Executioner's Axe, I believe, is 2.6 seconds normally, or 2.6 turns normally, and it can be lowered to, or no, 2.3 normally. It can be lowered to 1.0. So you have to reach level 26. Level 26 to get to minimum delay with an Executioner's Axe. It's bonkers. If we hadn't already killed the Pandemonium Lord, I would not be just chasing around these demons, because following Chabritos, each step takes 2 turns. Each tile takes 2 turns. And additionally, it's extra brutal because you move before any of the monsters take any actions. You take your step, and then they get 2 turns to act. Which is as it normally goes. You take a step, and they get a turn to act. But the fact that you can't stagger it, it's tough. It takes a while to get to your power spike. As far as maneuverability goes. Now we can just bounce around wherever we want. We have controlled blink, we have regular blink for when we don't want to risk contamination, or when we don't have the mana for controlled blink. We have portal projectile, so we don't care if things stand in between us and our foe. And also if we, for some reason, have summoned allies, we can fire past them. Though I am not a big fan still of summons. They just take too much micromanagement for my taste. Purely a personal shortcoming on my part. I really should spend more time learning to use those, because they can be very, very strong There are a lot of great summoning spells. Okay, so that was a Pandemonium level. I know I just kind of rambled on throughout it, but you can see here we have three gates to other regions, which I do not believe vary in any way. Ah, that's right, Dr. X. I forgot you are wiser than I even. Uh, older, older, wiser. Same thing, really. Oh, is minimum delay 0.7? Okay, that's right. It's 2.0. Yeah, the triple crossbow. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, but Executioner's Axe does still take level 26 to get to minimum delay. Is that right? Um, I'm not entirely crazy. Yeah, because 2.3 to 1 is the triple crossbow, which is cool. I haven't used one of them yet. The only character that I've trained crossbows on really needed to keep his shield throughout all points of the game. I think that might have been Shrumph. The my first streaming win. It's very cool. All right, so we're going to continue traipsing through Pandemonium. We didn't pick up too much stuff in that last area, so we can continue. Ooh. Oh, no. There are demons, too. We're not in heaven. Here... one... I don't know if this is programmed into the AI or not, but I believe when you used ranged attacks, or at least missile attacks, against creatures that are using missile attacks against you, so in that case this cherub was shooting us with bow, they are more likely to put away their weapon and move towards you than if you try and run towards them. Yeah. Wiser might be a stretch. All right. Fair enough. I do like to think of myself as wise, but that's probably the pretension of youth. I have yet to live a year where I have looked back on it and thought, I really wasn't a dumbass at all this year. Oh, Shadow Fiend, hi. So that was a little bit inattentive on my part. These guys are worthy of great respect at all points in the game because they can torment. Yeah, Symbol of Torment. That being said, we are about as resistant to torment as a living being can be. We have triple negative energy resistance, and we're a gargoyle, so we take I would guesstimate 10 to 12% of our damage, or of our current health from torment. I think it's around that much, maybe as high as 15%. That being said, it's a darn sight better than 50. But yeah, we can just javelin these guys down. Again, misstep on my part there, throwing additional javelin. Much more effective to bash it in melee. But what can you do? User error is a thing. We'll just sort of hang out and wait for this Nikozik to come at us. Come at me, bro. We are also virtually immune to mutation. Not only do we have resist mutation through our really cool Hat of the Alchemist, but we found a potion of beneficial mutation that caused us to be somewhat further resistant to mutation, and I do believe that they stack. I am not 100% certain, but I believe that the 90% resistance from the Amulet of Resist Mutation happens before it checks to see if the mutation takes hold. I believe that you are resistant to further mutation just reduces the probability of a new mutation being acquired. That effect can also occur if you are a halfling or if you have a bunch of mutations already. At that point, many sources which would otherwise mutate you can remove mutations or just not take effect at all. But please correct me if I'm wrong, Gamma. This is kind of cool. I feel like I have a secret expert in my corner today. So I should have been more careful here. I didn't notice this Brimstone Fiend. I had kind of a good day, and so I've been gabbling on. I slept in a little bit, had a good dance lesson. It was nice. But yeah, we can just Singularity and hang out. The other amazing thing about Singularity, there are many. One of them is that it let's get Nora of Abjuration going. This was the other thing that I did off stream, was get summoning up to level 10 so that I could read the Grand Grimoire and memorize Aura of Abjuration, which is the one summoning spell that I am in love with. I think that this is absolutely necessary for the extended endgame if you are a spellcaster of any sort. I very happily put 10 levels into summonings just for that spell. I don't know if I'll memorize any other summoning spells. I don't know that we have the spell slots, and I think it's mostly irrelevant once we get Tornado online. We will be Ziggurat ready at that point. Okay, hi there. Keiko Demon. Kako Demon? Not sure how it's pronounced. I've only ever read it. There are a lot of words that I mispronounced for years because nobody ever said them out loud. I just read them in books. What are we doing? Oh, here's some other guys. Air Magic of 15. It needs to be at about 25 for Tornado. Well, it needs to be at exactly the same level as her Translocation skill is to have Singularity where it is now. So we will get Tornado to 4% when our Air Magic is at level 25.5. Although that's not entirely true because we have 5.2 more levels of spellcasting, which will also make it easier. Not enough to make it that much sooner than level 25. Maybe level 23 or 4. It'll be reliable. Assuming spellcasting is level 27. But not so much earlier as to make an appreciative difference for our purposes. We're in no rush anyway. Speaking of cigarettes, we will probably be checking this one out. We may do what we did last time, which is only go through about 15 levels. Around level 15, 16, things start to get a lot hairier. Okay, so we have Hellions. That's right, this is the Hellion Pit. It's a really cool little vault, sort of pre-drawn area with, it's just a moat of lava with a whole bunch of Hellions stuffed inside. It's really cool. I very nearly died to it with the first character that came across one such place. Friel. What is this? Friel has a vast, spindly body with bony wings and the head of a mouse. It hungers for your soul. Okay. I think that Rakshasa can copy Pandemonium Lords. I seem to recall that happening, but I could be imagining it. I might just be terrified of that situation. Okay, so here is where we need to consider leaving. This is the kind of situation where we would be justified in doing so. There's, yikes, that's, especially now that we've accidentally wasted this room. There's a gate right here, which we could just control blink here and step over. We spend 5 turns getting through. Alternatively, I mean, I think we can win this fight. I'm just considering the running away option first, because you have to start doing that in the extended endgame. Because otherwise, you fall prey to hubris. Arrogance is your #1 killer here. Because by this point, you're strong enough to do pretty much anything. It's just you have to know when you're fighting one of those circumstances that you're not designed to win, like a room full of 40 Pandemonium Lords. Or, you know, this early on in the endgame, 3 might be too many, but I think we're okay. I do think we need to reposition, though I'm not really excited about that fact. But I think we can spend the mana and turn and contamination for a controlled blink over here. I think this is a much better spot. We have a little sort of pseudo choke point. Things can move through, but they don't always do that if they're not the same species. And so we can create a little bit of bottleneck here. Not necessarily relevant because Torment does not have to... Is it smart to write out your branch floors to remember during extended runs. I'm not sure what you mean. There's the Control-O function, which lists everything, and that's generally what I use. You can make notations on the map as well, but I find that around your lair in Orcish Mines. Oh well, and the other thing is you can use Shift G to or let's see. Well, maybe it's different here. I'm already here. Well, normally you can use Shift G to travel to various places automatically. It'll bring up a list. I'm not sure why this isn't doing it currently. It might be the fact that it's... Ooh, Rakshasa has a polearm. That's a little annoying. I think it's... we have the mana for a singularity. I think that's reasonable here. But yeah, normally Shift G brings up a menu and you can auto travels with various places. It could be my keyboard, it could be my web browser, it could be the WebTOS client. Regardless, we are going to throw some javelins here. All right. Let's go ahead and... Oops. G is regeneration. Used to have it on D, that's why. Okay, and then we can just kind of hang out until the other things show up, because they will. Singularity is quite loud. Ooh, this is a pretty disco demon lord. I don't know if this is new or not, but I found for the first time the disco hall, Disco Inferno, which is really, really funny. I took screenshots of it because my lady love was once in a musical called Disco Inferno, and she's terribly embarrassed by it. Don't know why I threw a javelin over here. That was completely incorrect. We should drop a singularity down. And the fact that it's completely max range, this spell might be better than Firestorm in my book. It has greater utility, at least. Firestorm is still raw damage, I'm sure, just far and away outstripping it, but as far as my preference for it, I think this is the new one. If only because it takes just one spell school instead of two. So let's throw that down there, and honestly, I think it's more, well, we'll kind of aim for the Brimstone Fiend. It's going to spend some time being upset by the singularity, or perhaps slain. Let's look at what we're doing here. Pandemonium Lord is pretty heavily wounded. I think we'll be okay. Especially now that Brimstone Fiend, yeah, was shredded apart by our mastery over the fabric of reality. It just feels like a level 9 spell. Well done, Gamma. You and yours. 2 thumbs up for that one. We can move a little bit here. I kind of want to get to a reduced line of sight place to rest up. We'll just eat a ration. Permafood is not exactly a concern at this point. We've been judicious with our use of it thus far, and we are rewarded by a ton of snacks. My new philosophy is that early on in the game, there are enough corpses that you should always be trying to eat chunks. Oh, right, yes, we need to make an exclusion here. And probably another one there, to make sure we don't accidentally explore into a face full of Hellions. Because Hellfire is still a danger. Even maximum fire resistance does not do that much for you against Hellfire. If anything, I think it is maybe very limited reduction. I don't believe you can ever resist it entirely, unless no, I don't even think that Demon Spawn with the Throw Hellfire mutation can resist it. I think it's just that scary. I'm not sure about monsters. I do believe that some monsters have Hellfire resistance, but it can't be... I think it's similar to Firestorm in that it can't be entirely resisted. Everything still takes some damage regardless of reduction. Again, could be wrong on that. Oh, why do I still have tomahawks on auto pickup? I don't want tomahawks anymore. They have finally outlived their usefulness. Tomahawks were great for a really long time, but I just don't think that their max damage at this point is... yeah, base damage 6 versus, I think it's 22 for the javelins. Oh, no, it's 10. 22 is triple crossbows. Also, the unique heavy crossbow or whatever that we found, which is somewhere. We do have a few unidentified artifacts, which are those that we would probably not ever consider using for any reason. We have no point. There's no point in switching over to a polearm, unless we find just something so out of this world that it... Oh, okay. All right, so that's within view. We have to be extremely careful around this particular area because we can, in fact, die from 2 turns of Hellfire Blasts from these guys. I'm pretty sure. It's a very, very rough calculation there, but I am going to see about this. Sorry, what's happening right now is exactly what I wanted to happen, what I hoped would happen, which is that the flightless Hellions are being sucked by the Singularity into the lava to their death. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going on. Oh, that's just so beautiful. Just one sad, confused Hellion. Okay. 2. That's fine. We can just... Ooh, miscast Singularity. Let's step back out of line of sight then. Summon Butterflies, continuing to be one of the most useful spells in the entire game, period. Or well, not the most useful necessarily, because there are more useful spells on an objective scale. But as far as return on your investment, there is... I can confidently say that there is no better level 1 spell in the game. Magic Dart comes close, but Summon Butterflies is ridiculously amazing. It just can get you out of circumstances that you otherwise would never be able to survive. I suppose it is the argument that can be made for... Well, one of the many arguments that can be made for the summoning spell school. I know I rag on summonings a lot, but it really is cool. The utility that it provides is very unique. Okay. We can... yeah. Just suck them right on in there. At this point, I know for a fact that we have killed enough of these Hellions that we can actually step out and explore. There aren't enough to kill us in 1 or 2 turns. Effectively, to kill us before we can get a controlled blink off to a safe location. Oh, gosh. I'm doing with Singularity what I did with Firestorm the first time I ever memorized it, which is abuse it. Just use it as often as possible, in as many circumstances as possible, even those where it's completely unnecessary. In part because it's fun. It's just really fun. But also in part to test its capabilities, to see what it can do. Like right there, I learned that it can pull flightless creatures into lava under some circumstances. Clearly, this test would not be definitive. The sample size is far too small, but that's a really cool thing to know. Yeah, so a Book of Power. Spellforge Servitor is fine, but you really have to have Conjurations specifically, and I think you have to have Summonings for it to be very effective. I think it is a good part of a pure Summoner build, training up Conjurations as well, because it provides some interesting triangulation positioning. You can you can have more summoned creatures because you can get different angles at your foe. Yeah, but there's nothing in there that we really need. We're not going to want to use any of the, or we're not going to want Orb of Destruction. It's a good spell, but uh, we have other high power spells that can perform the same function, which is dealing with particularly dangerous foes at a long distance. Basically, dealing with tormentors and hurlers of hellfire. We can remove these exclusions now. I know there's a way to wipe all of them at once, but I forget what it is, and I don't want to look it up. I refuse to look it up. In case you didn't get a chance to look at our gear the other day, we have just some bonkers equipment. Mostly artifacts. Our jewelry is not. But we have lots and lots and lots and lots of resistances. I believe we are just maxed out on everything. We might have one additional... No, we are perfectly maxed out on both fire and negative energy resistance. I think. We might have an extra pip of negative energy. 1, 2... No, we have it perfectly maxed out. So we don't have any wasted elemental resistances. Only 2 pips of resist cold, but that's generally enough. Cold is a less common element to be hit by, and you know, we're specifically wearing a ring of cold so that we do get 2 pips, because that's very nice to have. Only one source of Seem Visible, which is this ring, which is fine. But just a lot of really solid equipment with a lot of varied resistances, a lot of incidental bonuses. Incidental bonuses being those like on our Quicksilver Dragon armor. We would wear the Quicksilver Dragon armor even if it did not have additional magic resistance and the dexterity bonus. I would gladly wear it, because that's basically Pearl Dragon armor minus the bonus. I would wear it with just resist negative energy at a 10-7 encumbrance rating. I think it's even better than Pearl Dragon armor, in fact. So yeah, I would wear this regardless, but we get, incidentally, more magic resistance and dexterity. So it's those, like, they're free bonuses that you didn't have to work towards that are going to be useful to you. That's kind of how I tend to evaluate characters that I don't necessarily intend to be extended endgame characters once they reach the orb, to see if I want to continue on for more than 3 runes. Is if they've picked up, you know, all these crazy stats. Not quite this crazy, of course. A lot of this is endgame stuff anyway. But powerful enough equipment to be able to survive without much work. I mean, it's nice to be able to just sort of waltz into Pandemonium and get by. Okay, so we are going to do some of this Ziggurat. I do not believe we are ready to do all of it. I'm really hesitant to do Ziggurats without Tornado. Singularity conceivably could be good enough to do it with just Singularity, but I do not want to risk it. Ooh, wow. That is... Gosh. Examinator, that is... Or Zamaninator, sorry. Extra N in there. That's a really cool ring. I really wish I had that on this guy. That would be swell. I'd use that in a heartbeat. I'd even give up seeing invisible if I had to. Okay, so we're going to do some of a Ziggurat. I believe we're going to switch back to our double sword and shield combo. The added defensive... I mean, an entire extra defensive stat is invaluable when you're just taking a lot of hits. You're just going to. There are just so many creatures in there. We can easily quaff a potion of restore abilities. We have 11 more. We're fine. And we'll probably find some throughout the Ziggurat regardless. But yeah, having a whole other layer of defense against melee and missile attacks is just really nice. Additionally, the damage we're doing in melee is going to be less important than our spell damage, generally speaking. Singularity is going to be doing a lot of the work for us, as is Aura of Abjuration. That and Song of Slaying will stack up our slaying bonus to generally +9. I mean, there are tons of enemies in the mid-Ziggurat levels, so we don't have to worry about damage output as much as we have to worry about survivability. So let's pop our heads in. Not really worried about the first few levels. We can just kind of face roll our way through. Which, well, you know, you don't want to quite be that lax, but... What's the armor level you want to use for plate? That depends on what you're trying to do. If you are going pure... Oh, well, if it's for your orc Jesus, I just recommend kind of leaving it on. The fact that that Bo or Beog, or however you choose to pronounce the orc god's name, the fact that it gives you a further bonus to armor makes armor a very efficient use of your experience points. So I would not focus it at any point, and if you are finding yourself really low on damage, feel free to turn it off. But I would definitely leave it on until it's at least level 15. And honestly, I would go ahead and leave it on the whole game. If you're not following Bo, if you want to just be a fighter with some spell utility, if you're not going for the heaviest armor all the time, plate is a good top out if you want to cast like first and second level spells. If you have, you know, maybe a source of wizardry or a race that's naturally got some intelligence to it, you can get it to sort of 10 or 15. I think the rule of thumb is that if your armor skill matches the encumbrance rating, you have eliminated the melee penalty. But remember that your strength needs to be 3 times the encumbrance rating penalty to get rid of all of that penalty from that side of things. So there's some really complicated formulas with armor class, which is really cool. But the shorthand is that if your armor skill is at least as high as the encumbrance rating, you're probably good to go. At least for, you know, for that part of the game. Getting all 3 of your defensive skills to around level 10 is pretty cool. Shields, you really only need to go to 5, though, for bucklers, unless you want to go for normal-sized shields at 15. That's ultimately going to be your goal. Robe, don't really care about robes here. We have not been trying for the full evasion build. Gargoyles just get too good of a return on armor to want to use it. Okay, so we've got some holy critters here. I believe they're immune to draining. Yeah. So we have something for this situation. Another excellent, if niche, translocation spell. That is Warp Weapon. You can't use it with artifact weapons, so that's why it's a little bit niche, because a lot of the time your best weapon is going to be an artifact. That is not the case for us, however. And instead, it is incredibly useful because we have read several scrolls of Brand Weapon, and our double sword has remained mediocre as far as brands go. The best that it was at any point was Electrocution, I think. I would consider that probably the best. Maybe Slicing is better for a double sword with its high base damage. Regardless, the Draining brand is not a very good extended endgame brand. Excellent through Zot. From the beginning of the game through Zot, Draining is very, very strong now. But when you're fighting a whole bunch of demons, it's not the best. So here we're just going to plop down a Singularity and see what happens. Throw some javelins. I am really interested to see how Singularity reacts with the heavenly beings, since I do intend to fight that. Here, I need to actually cast Warp Weapon if it's going to be useful. We want to know how we fare against them, and this is an excellent little testing ground. This is one of the many reasons why I like. See, we just aced it with our distortion sword. One of the many reasons why I like Ziggurats is because the first few levels provide a perfect test environment. You're relatively safe. Ooh, is this one of the unique? Oh no, it's just a artifact war axe. We do have a manual of axes, so I am going to be interested in identifying these artifact axes that we find, especially war axes, which are one-handed and therefore valuable for a shields build. though the damage is low. Um, if it had, for example, been a vampiric war axe with a high bonus, we could actually use that fairly well. Yeah, 11. Yeah, shields. I would highly recommend training to level 15 and then just turning it off. I generally don't bother with large shields unless, as we did in this case, you find an excellent artifact. Um, in our case, it's this +8 large shield with strength +5. And it's not flashy, but it's powerful. I believe that +8 is as high as large shields can be maximally enchanted anyway. And the fact that this gives us 5 extra strength just made it a no-brainer to go ahead and train shields all the way up to 25. At which point it will shut off. I think that's slightly different than some previous patches where it was 23 to nullify all the bonuses. Interesting. Silence. So we're one of the many reasons why I like this particular build with Chabritos is that we are very strong against silence effects. We are, unless there are things that are tormenting us silently, which I don't believe can be done. Maybe there are some sources of silent torment, but I think most of them are unable to be silenced. We have a really powerful melee fallback. Very, very strong melee fallback. Since that was our build throughout the entire game, up to and through Zot, was just melee. We didn't even cast many spells. I think we cast repel missiles. That's about it. Maybe some translocations, but most of this spell ability has come like post vaults. What amulets have we not identified? Clarity, Guardian Spirit, Inaccuracy, and Stasis. Well, we'll try it on. Cursed Amulet of Inaccuracy. Of course. Of course. Not that we would actually use it if we were one of the others, but it might be worth hanging on to since we have not found a source of clarity. Guardian Spirit, not as important at this point in the game. Still somewhat useful, but not as important. And Stasis is only situationally useful, so I'm not too worried about not having that. Steaming Quick Blade. I do like Quick Blades, but Chabritos does not. Does not care for them. Not one bit. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to be doing? No, not for Ziggurat 5, I don't believe. Abyssal creatures. Well, abyssal creatures are vulnerable to being ripped to shreds by the majestic forces of gravity. As most things tend to be. We can go an Aura of Abjuration here. Not necessarily because those things pose any threat. They're just a little annoying, and I would rather not deal with them. Wow, did we really... we didn't quite wipe out everything with one singularity. There's still a Starcurse Mass that we've got to... Oh, good job. Good job, Sam. Is it okay if I call you Zam? I will not if it's not okay. Nothing too exciting, but that's fine. Not really expecting anything exciting. Okay, cool. Thanks. I'd rather call you by a nickname than, mispronounce your name every other time I say it. That is also what I have to do with many of my European viewers. I say many like I have many viewers in general, which I don't, but some of my viewers are European, and I try to be courteous with names, but I'm not always capable of getting it right. You may be European yourself. I don't know. Good on you, if you are. I like Europe. It's a really cool place. I say that like it's all the same. There are many cool places in Europe. don't know that I even care about rods, but yeah. I think I will hang on to this War Axe for now. We can always ditch it if we find something more useful to carry out of here, but it seems like a reasonable weapon if we ever decide to switch over to axes. Okay, cool. There are a lot of cool places in America as well. Lightning Spire. That's interesting. I think it's positioned just perfectly to be able to bounce off this wall onto us directly right here. Maybe it'll only reach us and hit us once, but I'm not too terribly concerned. Ooh, here's an excellent place for another experiment, which is, can singularities affect statues? Yes! Wow, this spell may be too strong. I hate saying that, because I want it to stay this strong. It's so much fun. But it feels stronger than Firestorm to me in some ways. I don't know, Firestorm would have performed much the same function there, now that I think about it. I think I'm just it's a new romance, and so I'm just very infatuated. Boom. We are resistant to electricity. If this is just Naga stuff, snake pit creatures, I am kind of sad. I don't think I'll have the chance to get the tournament banner with getting all 17 runes over the course of the tournament, even if I get all 15 this run, because I don't think I've grabbed the Serpentine rune at any point. I have not had the chance to play enough to get to and through the snake pits. Ooh, a crystal greatsword. That's worth looking at. We like swords. Granted, greatswords are not the best. They're a lot weaker than triple swords. But, strong enough artifact. We'll just wield this rod so that we can have it identified for funsies. Rod of Clouds. Also don't care about that. But let's take off this shield and check out this crystal sword. Not really all that great. It gives us random rage, which is pretty deadly for followers of Chebrinos. I mean, the stat bonuses are fine. This would have been an okay weapon to use throughout the early and mid game, I suppose, if you weren't following Chebrinos. For us, however, it is useless, so it's going away. Oh, no, that's right. We want to stick with our draining and shield plan. I think that's correct. Actually, let's eat until we're engorged here. No reason not to. We're in a ziggurat, so, there will be food periodically, and we want to never even want to. Yeah, 20 orcs. Very, very fun. Oh, right. Slime level. We can beat the slime level, no problem. Through a little bit of warping space-time. Oh, gosh, so much fun. Slimes, actually, we do have to be somewhat wary of, because heavy corrosion of our equipment does get rid of our, primary method of defense, which is just being a hoss. Okay, looks like we got the Gauntlets of War, which are fine. I think our Fencer's Gloves are better. I think they also have a base armor rating of 1, so that's irrelevant. And I think we get more return from 3 points of evasion and 6 points of dexterity, which by itself is also an extra point of evasion, at least 1 point. And it's added damage. basically, the switch would be gaining 3 slaying and 1 armor class, which would really only be an increase of about 2 slaying, maybe 1 slaying. I'm not sure how much 6 dexterity is worth. Probably an increase of 2 slaying. So a marginal damage increase, but a loss of 4 points of evasion. And our evasion is not astronomical enough to just throw away 4 points. I think it's necessary to keep our fencer's gloves, but we can pick them up and take them out of here. I think that's fine. Ooh, an artifact double sword. Is it Christmas? Is it Hanukkah? Is it Kwanzaa? Whoa, maybe so. Mana -9, but gosh, this is so close to being perfect. We already have max fire resistance. And max negative energy resistance, but this is a really cool artifact because it does free up an entirely different set of equipment options should we find more artifact equipment. This gives us a ton of flexibility, since we can get rid of all of our fire equipment easily. Like, this basically lets us get rid of, I don't know, some stuff, if we need to. Not that it's necessary, but we can. Don't care about any of those spells. We can grab a Phantom Mirror and then just use it on the next level. We have not trained evocations at all this game. I know it's probably worthwhile to put a few levels into it. I just didn't want to mess with it, and I wanted to get to our endgame spike as quickly as possible. That's why I was even hesitant to put points into throwing. Stealth. I probably shouldn't have even put points into stealth in the first place, manual or no. But I mean, again, there have been times where I've been glad to have stealth. Okay, more Volt critters. We'll just put a singularity down and just walk away. Anything that escapes the black hole can just be chopped down by us. And frankly, we could, in theory, just mow our way through these things anyway. We can just run in and start slashing. But, ziggurats require a lot of respect. There can always be scarier stuff behind what you see in front of you. So be very careful with every level. I am not being careful enough, in fact. I should not be talking as much as I am. But, what can you do? Ooh, cool, you got your first named orc. When you can start giving them equipment, it's really fun. They feel like your kids. It's really sad when one dies. Feels like a little mini death. Faintly glowing war axe. That is not worth carrying around. Neither is this. Oh, well, hold on. How is Tornado with Wizardry? 61%, not good enough. Maybe castable if we quaff a Potion of Brilliance. Do we have enough to test that? No. So worth keeping in our inventory for this moment. But we may ditch it. It's low priority inventory space. Or inventory item. A Jingashi and a ghoul. Looks like crypt monsters, perhaps? Let's, Baby, don't fear the Reaper. We're not going to fear the Reaper, we are going to kill the Reaper. Certainly an option the Blue Oyster Cult should have considered. We should also throw down a Singularity. No reason not to. We've alerted the other monsters in the level via combat of our presence. Oh, wait. We are wielding something, right? The wrong double sword? I suppose it's fine that we're doing that right at this moment. I will want to switch off of it, however, once we end this combat. Oversight on my part there. Yeah, just die. Die to my wrath. You cannot put the singularity on top of creatures, which makes sense because it's a summoned creature, technically. But I think that's a very minor drawback for an otherwise flawless spell. Yeah, I said it. Well, maybe not flawless. I should hedge. You should always hedge in this game. We're not going to be using a Ring of Ice. We'll not be using Twisted Chainmail, no matter how good it is. Why do we have that set to auto pickup? I don't want. I don't even want Rings of Slaying at this point, nor do I want Rings of Wizardry. Okay. Our pack is full. Full of what? Full of stuff. Okay. Well, onward. Oh, let's switch back to our more powerful sword here. I mean, freezing is really good, but... Oh, interesting. We only lose 6 mana. Oh, well, if it's only 6 mana that we're losing... Freezing is such a better brand in our particular situation. More abyssal critters. Here is probably the best spot. Don't really need to throw javelins into the lava. Seems like a poor decision. We can throw them at the Raiju. The Singularity can be attacked. I have not seen it destroyed, I don't think. Or if it's been destroyed, I haven't noticed it being destroyed. Ah, here's a place where we can check. Singularity implodes. It seems pretty hard to hit, which would make sense as it's a black hole. I mean, it's crazy stuff. Man, the numbers involved with black holes are just... They're just hard to think about. They're just so crazy. It is not possible to dual wield with the sole exception of a unique pair of quick blades. Elvish Blade Masters dual wield, but they laugh at you while you can't. Oh, Lurking Horrors. These actually could hurt. I wonder if Singularity works on them. That's my question with everything. Does Singularity work on it? Does not appear to, actually. Oh, it does. It just, they explode anyway and damage you. That's fine. Oh, gosh. And it doesn't even hurt you. You don't even have to worry about positioning. I mean, you have to worry about positioning. You always have to. Yeah, dual wielding would be cool. I don't know. I feel like it would... It's really difficult to balance dual wielding in any game because you clearly can't just make it double damage, because that's way too strong. There would be no reason to ever go two-handed weapons unless you also made them double damage, which would mean that, yeah, it makes balancing things a lot more difficult to have dual wielding. It's cool. It's always fun. I like it in a lot of tabletop systems, but I think it would be really difficult with this game, just the way things are calculated to do. Maybe not. Maybe it would be a cinch, and it's just, you know, dual wielding's hard. Nobody can do it. Okay, so here we have to start dropping stuff. Yeah, we can drop this this rod of hitting things in the face, and quaff this potion of experience. It's not comparatively a ton of experience at this point, but it's still free experience. Where do I want it to go? Air magic, perhaps? I mean, we could just work on finishing off translocations. Get it a little bit closer. Yeah, that seems fine. Get to the point where we don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, I don't have many good things to say about 4th edition. I have a few good things to say about it. It was excellent for people that didn't want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry. I played, I gave it a good shot. I played a solid, 20 some odd gaming sessions of 4th edition, and I even went into it with high hopes. I was really excited, and my hopes were dashed. I have heard that 5th edition is excellent. I really want to check that out at some point, but I am currently running both a Pathfinder game and an Ars Magic game, so I am a little bit stretched thin with my tabletop. Oomph. Okay, nothing really here for us. I don't know why I'm wandering around. One thing we can do is see... We can wait for a couple of times. We just want to restore our hit points anyway. But, oh, yeah, we should probably wield the sword. All right, let's go back to our double sword of draining. I like the +9 bonus. I mean, +6 with freeze is, I guess, more damage against things usually. But I like the extra 6 mana points. I think I'll just stick with this for now. Oh, well, now knowing that there's holy things, clearly this one is the better choice. Ah, gosh, I should have cast... In fact, I think I don't really have the option anymore. I should have cast Regeneration and then switched over. Alright. Angels. Yeah, so, okay, so these enemies are still strong enough to... Oh, no, they're just getting shredded. Roused to righteous anger. That is actually pretty scary. But our Singularity's doing just ridiculous amounts of work. Because it's keeping them off of us. That's the thing that the thing that I maybe haven't said out loud yet, that I just keep... it's so amazing. It just... The fact that it prevents anything from approaching us means we take so much less damage, generally speaking. There are going to be exceptions to that, things that are stronger at range that we would normally want to close with us. But then we can always just not drop a Singularity and activate our Chabritos Temporal Distortion that basically just moves things next to you. Throwing javelins at the Pearl Dragon, even though it's weaker than the Deva, just because the Deva has a shield and could more easily block us. Let's throw out another one of these. Why not? We are taking damage from Holy Flame, which I think is similar to Hellfire in that we do not resist as much of it as we would normal Flame. That is to say, it's not fun standing in the middle of it. Not a fan. Ooh. Can we throw through the Singularity? Whoa, we can throw through the Singularity. Wow. A Runed Large Shield. It is possible that the Runed Large Shield is better than what we have. I would accept a Large Shield of Reflection, for example. Any way to quickly check your followers to see if you have more named? I actually don't know. I have not experimented with that enough to know those commands. You might just try Control F, like searching for named followers. It's possible that they have that tag in there. But I do not know. Do not know. Let's throw in some regeneration. And just throw javelins at things. Oh yeah. Boom. Boom, baby. Ooh, and an Udiman blade. I don't remember. Oh no, they're not. That's right. They're 1 pip better. They're the 1 point of damage better than a demon blade. So still weaker than a double sword. I think there are maybe blessed double swords. The minimum delay of this is a little bit lower. Let's see what the bonus is. It might be worth wielding. No, it's not worth carrying out of here. We'd have to invest too many scrolls of enchant weapon on it. We have better things to do. +2 large shields. Okay. Probably why it was, even possible to hit the thing, but oh. Another shiny large shield. I would imagine this is also just a... Oh, it's +1 large shield protection. I'd rather have the strength. Let's see, 57, 31, 31. 54, 31, 39. Oh, well, part of that's the bonus. But yeah, I'd just rather have the strength. I don't need 5 extra armor. Oh, I definitely don't need 3 extra armor class right now. Those are good early on, but bucklers of protection in general. Oh, the rat cloak. Oh no, the robe of folly. Ooh, arc magi. Lowered magic resistance. Well, it's definitely worth picking up. It's worth considering. But we're certainly not going to use it immediately. Armor is too important a part of our defensive suite, as it were. Ooh, I like the autumn katana. I like it a lot. Let's drop these regular let's drop these regular javelins and this amulet of wizardry. Nah, javelins are somewhat valuable. Let's see, what's the base damage on this? 14. Oh, wow, yeah, this is a very, very good weapon. Very high bonus. I mean, it's an artifact, so you can't enchant it further, so, it's nice that it has +8, because you can't get it to +9. It's only 1 shy of the max that you would be able to get a normal weapon anyway, even if you have the scrolls. It's a low minimum delay, 0.6, but it gives you clarity. We don't have another source of clarity in this entire game, I believe. Yeah, it's the only source of clarity in the game, so we are definitely carrying that out of here. I actually don't care about a great mace at all. We're not going to be going maces and flails. A book? What kind of book? Khufu's Tome of Evil Rites. Nothing in there that we want. We don't really have to go necromancy here. Unlike most extended endgame characters, I don't need any of these spells either. Unlike most extended endgame characters who are living, we do not need necromutation to protect ourselves from torment. We are resistant enough that we can be tormented, 6 times in 1 turn and still survive. Ah, the false warlord! Well done. Properly slain. Let's just identify this for giggles. The Great Mace of Suicidal Tendencies. Distortion and Contamination. Oh, that's cool. That's really fun. Definitely not a bad weapon. I mean, if we're going great maces, we would consider it, but that's not really on our radar. Okay. We do have to keep in mind that, oh yeah, Singularity is still fine. Translocations is nearly maxed out, so it doesn't matter that we've had a little bit of intelligence drain. Agric, the warrior. Cool. It's really neat when they get promoted. You feel so proud. And also strong. Okay, this is scary. What is waiting for me? Oh. Nothing exciting. Spiders. I can handle spiders. I don't really have to do much here. Oh, I should probably wield a sword. That seems like a good idea. Let's go ahead and wield the Autumn Katana here. Against Tarantellas, the clarity could be relevant. Highly unlikely. Our magic resistance is insanely high. Probably beyond maxed out. I don't know for sure, but it's really good. We have 1, 2, 3 sources plus our natural resistance. Yeah, we weren't afraid of these things even when we were in the spider's nest. We had spider's nest this time around, right? Yeah. We've got the Gossamer Room. Oh, that's right, we picked up a Phantom Mirror. We should use that. Ooh, our first artifact amulet. Well, second artifact amulet. First potentially good artifact amulet. We found an artifact amulet of inaccuracy one time. Ah. Huh. In my heart of hearts, I was really hoping that that would be an artifact regeneration amulet. Oh, cool. A knight already. That's pretty sweet. That makes your followers a lot stronger, having a knight along to give them all might. We will hang on to this amulet, however, if we ever find a helmet that's better than our Hat of the Alchemist, which is conceivably possible, as much as I like it. We don't need Scrolls of Enchant Armor in here. This, however, is not the not the item that is going to unseat the Hat of the Alchemist. Don't really care about an ebony short sword. Oh, we have 6 Scrolls of Enchant Weapon. That's cool. We should definitely use one of those on our triple sword. Get it maxed out. That's nice. Okay. Yeah, Book of Battle. Do we need anything from the Book of Battle? Theoretically, Spectral Weapon could be good. But, let's see, we have 5 spell levels left, and we are gaining 5 more, so we'll have 10. Yeah, we can't afford to just throw away 3. We can always memorize it later if we want, but I don't believe it's necessary for the time being. Alright, we're getting into the mid-levels, where it starts to get really scary. I think we can go a little bit further now. I think we can probably go as high as 20, or as low as 20. How low can you go? How low can you go? You know. Alright. Zot. Draconians. Ooh, an artifact ring. I like artifact rings. Sure, we'll put it there. Not really the setup that we have to be concerned about. We can really just kind of run through these guys, but you know, better safe than dead. Let's throw this down and also get an Aura of Abjuration going, just for funsies. Don't want them summoning a bunch of demons that can ruin our day. do have to be wary of using singularities on levels with tomb monsters, because greater mummies can torment the ghoulies out of us. Cool. So a strict upgrade to what we're currently wearing. Those are always nice. We'll just put that on instead of our ring of protection from cold. We'll get an added, I mean, it's a superfluous pip of fire resistance. We might be, as I think magic resistance scales indefinitely. I don't think that there's a maximum magic resistance. I think we've just maxed out the number of pips that we can see. But another sources certainly can't hurt. And we can drop our prior ring of protection from cold. Thank you, ring of protection from cold. You served us well. I was through a lot of this game. Cloak, just a regular runed cloak. I don't believe it can be better than what we have on. No. Not really. Though we can switch around the cloak now that we have secondary sources of negative energy and fire resistance. Off this potion of experience right away. Ooh, can we get? We can't get translocations all the way to level 27, but we can get it up another tenth of a level. Getting there. Oh wait. 2/10. Boom. What is this book? These rapid deconstruction is good outside of ziggurats. Don't really care about it inside. What about the Papyrus on Voyage? We don't really need any of those. Controlled teleport is really good if you if you're going a more sneaky, stabby route. But we have controlled blink already, so we don't have to worry about. Yeah, Book of the Warp. Book of the Warp is really good now. Gale's Gravitas, I think, is a fine spell. Falls off in late game, definitely, but solid mid game spell. Was part of making translocations a very well-rounded spell school now. Oh shucks, here. I'm just gonna restart